Most gardeners spend their lives fighting moss, scraping it off pavers and killing it in their lawns. It is seen as a persistent nuisance, a sign of dampness and neglect that must be eradicated with chemical sprays and aggressive raking. But what if I told you that this soft, emerald green carpet is actually the secret to the most low-maintenance, ancient-looking garden you can build? This humble organism holds the key to creating a space that feels timeless, tranquil, and deeply connected to the natural world. The problem isn't the moss, it's how you've been trying to grow it, or more often, how you've been trying to kill it without understanding its true nature. You see, moss operates by an entirely different set of rules than the flowers, shrubs, grasses. Stop treating it like a normal plant, because that is exactly why you are failing. Welcome to Don't Do This Guide, where we show you the common pitfalls to avoid so your garden can thrive. If you are tired of trial and error and want to know exactly what not to do, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We focus on the simple truths that lead to lasting success, helping you build your skills and confidence one project at a time. Before you can successfully cultivate moss, you must first understand what makes it so unique. Moss is not like grass or a rose. It belongs to a group of ancient plants called bryophytes, which are among the oldest land plants on Earth. They are incredibly simple and resilient. Unlike vascular plants, moss does not have deep, complex roots designed to seek out water and nutrients from the soil. Instead, it possesses tiny, hair-like threads called rhizoids. The primary function of these rhizoids is not absorption, but anchorage. They simply help the moss cling firmly to surfaces: rock, wood, soil, concrete. This structural difference is the most critical concept to grasp. Because moss lacks a traditional root system, it absorbs the majority of its water and nutrients directly through its leaves. This is why it thrives in damp, humid environments, where moisture is readily available in the air and on the surfaces where it grows. It can colonize places where other plants would quickly fail, such as the thin layer of soil atop a boulder, or the narrow crevices between paving stones. Understanding this simple biological fact is the first step towards stopping the common mistakes that prevent moss from flourishing in a garden setting. One of the most frequent and fatal errors gardeners make is choosing the wrong location for their moss. Many people, accustomed to planting sun-loving flowers and vegetables, instinctively place moss in a bright, open area. Within days or weeks, they are met with a patch of brown, crispy, and decidedly dead moss. This happens because most moss species prefer shade, or, at the very least, dappled sunlight. They are not equipped to handle the intense drying power of direct sun, especially during the hottest parts of the day. A few specific types can tolerate some morning sun, but as a general rule, shade is your friend. To avoid this mistake, you must not select the brightest spot in your garden. Instead, become an observer of light. Spend a day watching how sunlight moves across your property. Take note of how many hours of direct sun a potential spot receives, whether that sun comes in the gentle morning or the harsh afternoon, and how wind and nearby shade affect the area. An ideal location might be on the north side of your house, beneath the dense canopy of a mature tree, between buildings where shadows linger, or in a naturally damp rock garden that is shielded from the midday heat. Do not plant moss where water drains away too quickly, sloped areas that shed water rapidly, or in sandy soils that cannot retain moisture. Similarly, avoid planting directly under trees with dense, shallow root systems, such as maples. The best places are those that naturally hold a bit of moisture, low-lying areas, the edges of a water feature, or spots with heavier clay-based soil that stays damp longer. Once you have identified the perfect shady and moist location, the next critical step is preparing the surface. Here again, gardeners often mistake this for prepping a new lawn or flower bed. Do not add lawn fertilizer. Do not add compost. Do not add any other nutrient-rich amendments to the soil. This is a crucial point to remember. These materials feed demanding plants, For moss, they are poison. The high nitrogen content can scorch the delicate moss. Organic matter gives a breeding ground for weeds, molds, and algae that will smother your fledgling moss garden. Moss prefers a surface low in nutrients. It likes a slightly acidic to neutral pH, about 5 to 7. If you are working with loose garden soil, your main task is to create a firm, stable base. Do not till or aerate the ground. Press it down firmly with your feet or with a flat board. If your native soil is highly alkaline, test it with a simple pH kit. Add acidifying materials like sulfur slowly and in small increments. First, thoroughly clean the entire area. Use a rake or your hands to remove existing vegetation. Remove weeds, grass, roots, fallen leaves, twigs, and old mulch. Start with a clean slate, a bare surface free of competition. Create a smooth, compacted surface with a stiff rake and the back of the rake or a board. For stone or concrete, scrub away algae, lichen, and dirt. The objective is the same: ensure intimate, uninterrupted contact between moss and substrate. This connection lets rhizoids anchor the moss and allows the plant to wick moisture from the surface. Now that your site is perfectly prepared, you need to acquire your moss. While you can often purchase cultivated moss sheets from specialized nurseries, many gardeners are tempted to harvest it from the wild. Do not go to a pristine forest or park and strip an entire patch of moss from a rock or log. This destructive practice destroys a micro-ecosystem that took years or even decades to form, and it can cause irreversible damage to the local environment. The correct and ethical way to harvest moss is to act like a gentle borrower. Find a healthy, abundant population and take only small pieces from several different spots. By taking a little from here and a little from there, you leave the donor site largely intact and ensure it can quickly recover and regenerate. Always get permission on private land and be aware of local regulations in public parks or preserves. Using a thin, flat tool like a spatula or a small trowel, carefully lift thin sections of the moss carpet, preserving the thin layer of soil and rhizoids attached to the bottom. It is crucial to keep the moss moist from the moment you collect it until the moment you plant it. Place in a shallow tray or plastic bag and mist. Back at your prepared site, lay the pieces onto the firm, clean ground like a jigsaw puzzle. Place them snugly together, but do not overlap. After positioning, press down gently but firmly across the surface, hands or a flat board, and secure edges with small landscape pins or a few stones until anchored. You have almost certainly seen videos or read articles promoting the moss slurry or moss milkshake method. The recipe usually involves blending pieces of moss with buttermilk, yogurt, beer, water, then painting this concoction onto walls, rocks, soil. The theory, dairy or beer provides a sticky medium and a food source for beneficial microbes, encouraging the moss spores and fragments to grow. While it can work in very specific conditions, it is far from foolproof. More often than not, it leads to failure and a slimy green mess. Do not rely on a moss slurry as your primary method. It dries quickly on sunny or vertical surfaces, washes away in rain, flakes off smooth stones, and sugary ingredients feed algae, mold, and mildew more than moss. If determined to try slurry, use only rough or porous surfaces that stay consistently damp, a north-facing brick wall or a craggy rock in deep shade. Improve your odds. Mix thick, apply multiple thin coats, letting each set slightly. Even then, expect a long wait, months or years, if it works at all. A much better plan: prioritize transplanting whole moss pieces. Transplants give immediate visual impact and far higher success because you're using mature plants. Press established moss sheets onto prepared surface. Keep them moist for a lush moss carpet. Use slurry only as supplemental. Fill small gaps or intricate crevices, but do not make it the foundation of your moss growing strategy. Once your moss is in place, the most critical element for its establishment is water. Consistent moisture is the key to encouraging the rhizoids to anchor and new growth to begin. Do not make the mistake of either forgetting to water or drenching the area with a powerful hose. For the first month, your new moss garden will be thirsty. Plan to water once a day during dry weather, using a fine mist setting on your hose nozzle or a gentle watering can. Saturate until visibly plump and dark green, but avoid puddles or standing water. Best timing: early morning or late evening, when the sun is low and evaporation minimal. Midday watering is inefficient. After about 2 to 4 weeks, reduce watering. Established moss is drought tolerant but appreciates a deep weekly soaking in extended dry spells. Weed control is refreshingly simple. Do not ever use chemical herbicides or weed and feed products, as these will kill your moss. The only tool you need is your hands. On compacted surfaces, most weeds have shallow roots and pull easily. For stubborn intruders like grasses or deep-rooted dandelions, use a small trowel or a pair of scissors to remove them carefully. Regular light maintenance is best. Gently sweep or pick off fallen leaves and other debris, especially in the autumn. Thick, wet leaves can cause rot. If a patch looks thin or damaged, simply press a few new pieces into the gaps to encourage it to fill in. Stay on top of small tasks to keep a pristine, uninterrupted expanse of green. While moss is resilient in many ways, it is not indestructible. One major vulnerability is heavy, repeated compression. Many people dream of a soft, continuous carpet of green, but forget to plan how they'll move through it. Don't assume you can walk on moss like turf grass. Constant daily pressure will compact it, break its delicate structures, and wear it into a bare, muddy track. This is especially true during establishment. Protect your time and effort by designing pathways from the start. The best fix: stepping stones, flagstones, slate pavers, or log cross-sections. Place stones to form a clear, inviting path. They protect the moss, add structure and visual interest, guide the eye and the foot, and let you enjoy the moss up close without damage. If you must step on moss for weeding or debris removal, use a wide, flat board to spread weight. Stand or kneel on the board to reduce pressure. Pets, especially dogs, can cause problems. Digging, running, and urination create dead spots. Don't give pets free rein during establishment. Use temporary fencing or gentle barriers. Once established, moss tolerates minor disturbance, but high pet traffic areas usually struggle. Train pets to use another yard area for the best long-term results. Set stones firmly, level with or slightly above the moss, and keep your green carpet flawless with mindful movement. A moss garden, like any living part of your landscape, will change with the seasons. In the autumn, keep the surface clear of falling leaves. Do not let a thick, wet mat of leaves sit for the entire winter. This suffocates moss, blocks light, traps excessive moisture, leading to rot and fungal disease. Use a leaf blower on low, a soft broom, or your hands to remove debris. In winter, don't panic if moss changes color. Many species are incredibly hardy. They go dormant in freezing temperatures, turning brownish, grayish, even reddish during a hard frost. When temperatures rise and spring rains return, moss will rehydrate and green up fast. Resist the urge to fix dormant moss. Leave it be. During summer heat waves, established moss tolerates drought, but extreme heat and lack of rain can make it dormant. Provide a deep, cooling mist in early morning. If pests like slugs or snails nibble, handpick them in the evening or use non-toxic traps. Most insects do little harm and are part of a healthy ecosystem. Be patient and embrace experimentation. If a patch fails, ask: too much sun? Too dry? Remove dead material, correct the issue, and press in new pieces. Start with a small, manageable area. Notice which species do best and use them to expand your garden. This slow, observational approach is the true secret to success. There you have it, the blueprint to growing moss like a boss by avoiding common mistakes that kill it. If you found value in this content, please give this video a like and drop a comment below letting me know where you plan to grow your moss garden. Don't forget to subscribe for more gardening guides, and I'll see you in the next video.